Listen, we're running out of time here. I'm calling it. This is the amount of time we got. If not, we're leaving. If we don't get out of here fast enough, we're all going to be dead, and the clue's not going to mean anything. We're running out of time here, guys. Click! This is where we need to be, right? The space library. Well, let's go get that book. Uh-oh. These books are kind of big. I guess not every sentient creature is human-sized. Oh well. This is Labyrinths. This is episode 8 of Star Trek Discovery Season 5. It's not Labyrinths of the Mind. The book in question that they're trying to find in this episode is called Labyrinths of the Mind, the original manuscript, Beta Z origin by, Marina Derricks at Beta Z. They're going to the archive, which is like a space library that serves all kinds, including the Breen, unfortunately. Leading to, quite the desperate scenario. Not to spoil anything. The book is Labyrinths of the Mind, but this is Labyrinths. So what happens in Labyrinths? Well, we're going to find out right now. We have access to this card, that metal, having fun ain't hard when you got a library card. Well, we got one, and according to the empath, Book, yeah, his name is Book, isn't that funny? We need to go to the Badlands. It's like a nebula. I think we've been here before in Star Trek, Badlands. Spooky nebula, scary, messes with your sensors. Yeah, this is Star Trek, baby. This is where the library is, and that's where our next clue is going to be. This book is important, and it's in that library, the original manuscript, and we need to go in there. And this episode, though, starts off with a sneak peek into what amounts to, I assume, the funeral of Locke. You know that Breen guy? Yeah, it looks like he might be dead, unfortunately. But I have a feeling he might come back. I don't know. And, I mean, if you've seen this, did you feel weirded out by the effects here? We have a lot of Breen on display, stomping that rod as they do. Clunk, clunk, clunk. And we see not one, not two, but like hundreds of Breen, maybe thousands, I don't know. And they look a little bit, a little bit fakey fake. We did too much zooming in on their armor for our brains to recognize the little details. And when we see all these Breen here, they look a little bit bland. They look a little bit fake. And they move a little bit robotically. It didn't really sell it for me. I was like, ooh, that looks a little bit rough. Hey. Maybe the episode is great. I did watch the whole episode. I'm not going to tell you if it's great right now, so you're going to have to wait and see. Maul is there. Locke is the scion of the Breen, and we need this guy in death now for our Primarch Ruin, to ascend to the throne. Now, the political machinations here are a little bit maybe above my head. Remember, I'm just an emotionless robot. It's hard for me to understand these things. It's hard for me to get the intricacies. But from what I could gather, Maul's bargaining chip is that she knows where this clue is. She knows where Discovery is. She knows where Discovery is going. She knows that next clue to the progenitor technology that will make Rune, and I suppose the Breen in general, very, very powerful and very, very dangerous. Now, you're thinking, okay, they need Locke alive for Rune to ascend to the throne. Not really. And Maul's thinking, okay, this technology can bring Locke back from the dead. Maybe that's why they want it. Maybe I should use this as part of my bargaining chip here. Well, I guess I'm dead now. They don't need him alive. Rune just said, even in death, yada yada yada, will continue on. Actually, his death at the hands of the Federation has galvanized our cause. Uh-oh. Maul's going to have to lie even harder now. And then she just goes ahead and says, actually, we can bring him back. Maybe she's not reading the room. Maybe she's not reading the rune. Rune was just saying, hey, it's okay that he's dead. Now Maul wants to bring him back. I don't know what I would do. I think if I were Maul, I just wouldn't say anything. I think I would just play it safe. And, just say, hey, Rune, I'll do whatever you want. But then maybe backstab him at the last second. But that's not what she does. She says, we can bring him back, and I ask you to free me so that I may help in this noble cause of bringing your scion back to life with this progenitor tech that only I know about and know that can bring people back to life. And won't you do this for me? Won't you unlock these chains? Unlock my handcuffs, please. And then Rune does it, I guess. And I don't know. Man, I don't know if this if this would work. Would this work? We needed another episode. Okay, I think I'm just gonna say it right here. I think this one episode wasn't enough. I think we needed one more with behind the scenes machinations of Maul working against the Breen to get on their good side for this to be believable, because we made quite the leap here. It smacks of Pike and co. taking over a pirate ship in like 20 minutes, and it's just a little bit too much for me. It's a little bit too much. Maul, really? Alone? Getting all those Breen on her side? They do try to pay lip service to what I'm thinking here by showing one Breen kind of go like, in the background he's kind of looking around like, Yeah, he doesn't say anything, he's just kind of like looking at Maul and thinking about it, and you're just thinking like, come on, we need another episode for this. I don't know, it's just too much too soon. Maybe more. Maybe we could have cut one episode, and then pushed all these events forward a little bit, and then had a little bit more time for Maul on the Breen side to get her bearings before we just jump straight into, okay, take these chains off, and I'll help you save the Scion. Hey, you're all with me, right? I'm rolling my flag up the pole, and it seems like everybody's saluting. I don't think it's going to work like that with the Breen. Somehow, I don't think it's going to work like that. And they made Rune look threatening, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm kind of behind this idea here. This guy's a villain. This is all right, because Rune does indeed like grab Maul by the neck, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of scary. And then, oh no, wait, whoops, misdirection. Maul's in charge now. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. This doesn't occur till later, but it is. It's odd that Maul is able to win so much favor with these Breen in 2 seconds by saying she can bring Locke back, who I don't imagine the average Breen under Rune cares about that much. Locke is dead. And to Rune, that's okay. But to Maul, that's not okay. Maul wants to bring Locke back. Forcing Rune to change his strategy so he doesn't lose face. So he has to now pretend he wants Locke back. Like everybody who's following Rune has to pretend they want him back. So we're not allowed to pretend that we're listening to Maul when Maul says that Locke may, even though other Primarchs are trying to destroy us because there's multiple claims to the throne. Is that going to work? So he has to now pretend he wants allowed to go back on that. So we have to, and then everybody who's following Locke may reign, even though other to pretend that we're listening to Maul because there's multiple. When Maul says that, is that going to work? Where's Rune's supporters? Where is his diehard supporters? I don't know. So now on the Breen side, we know that we can possibly, we don't know for sure, but we know we can possibly use the progenitor tech to bring someone back to life. And for some reason, we want to do that with Locke, scion of the Breen, even though we just said that it's okay that he's dead because we can blame the Federation. So it's win-win for the Breen and possibly lose-lose for Maul if she doesn't, play her cards right. That remains to be seen. It would be kind of cool if at the last second, Maul does turn out to be the villain in a way. Remember a few reviews ago, I said I had this weird feeling that Maul was the secret villain. And now it's playing it up like she's not. But then, what if at the last minute, at the last episode, you think she's going to pull a fast one on the Breen, right? And she's going to sabotage her somehow, but she doesn't. And she uses the progenitor tech somehow to attack the Federation. I mean, I don't see her having any love for the Federation, really. Did you? Remember, we're stuck here, or we're stuck in the Federation. It's just a different kind of stuck, according to Locke. So I'll leave that one with you. Back on the Discovery, we meet Hy'Rell. This is a caretaker of the books of the library. Maybe we can call her a librarian. Way back when I was a wee lad, this big, I took one of those job aptitude test things. You know, those things they give you in school where you answer a bunch of different questions and somehow it figures out where you belong in life. It figures out the U-shaped hole in the puzzle of the world. And it told me that I should have been a librarian. So here we are, curating various videos and placing them in a channel, a library of sorts, just of the digital kind, and for videos and not for books. Bit of a stretch. But this character, Hy'Rell, is the spokesperson, steward of this library. Welcome to the library, blah, blah, blah. And she all sounds very nice. And I think that's a misdirection. And she appears in a hologram on the Discovery Bridge. And she's wearing what looks like some kind of a cool-looking top. But then when we get below the chest, it turns into a gray garbage bag that I don't know if I'm really feeling. But it's different, this costume. And we serve everyone here. Be nice, play nice. Here's how you get through the Badlands. The library is in the Badlands, and what it amounts to, like, turning off their engines and kind of allowing what I assume is the library docking computer to control this. And, I mean, you want things to be safe, so you want to put the library in a dangerous place. But there's a limit to how dangerous you should be. And for a moment, it looks like we're almost going to tear the Discovery to pieces. But we do get into that island of stability where the library is. And surprise, surprise, it's a angular, poorly illuminated, dark-colored thing. Like everything in Discovery, apart from Federation headquarters. What is it with light here? Things are either too shiny or not shiny enough. Illuminated only from one direction, dim, dark, uninspired in design. Hallmarks of Discovery so far. This library looked just like, well, anything else. It looked kind of like that town they went to in Prodigy way back when. It's just kind of a bunch of stuff jumbled together, and it's dark and you can't really make it out. Heck of a library, right? It should have been shaped like a giant book. Maybe that's a little bit insane, but we do end up going in there, and what looks bad on the outside looks very cool on the inside. I was shook, perplexed, and impressed by how they managed to make this library look so real. It looked like maybe one or two different rows of books, digitally copy and pasted, and then doubled up and down to create a vertical, huge library. I don't know if it was octagonal or hexagonal, I don't know, right off the bat, but it was very cool the way it was structured. And it was kind of working. It was a believable set for me. It looked real enough that I kind of bought into this idea that this was really a huge library. And I think there was a real library that was shot and then digitally manipulated to appear like this. Otherwise, it wouldn't look so real. So they've done good on that. Cool on the inside, maybe not as interesting on the outside. There seems like a disconnect. When you look at the library from the outside, the library, the archive, whatever, do you imagine it looks like this on the inside? Maybe I'm reading too far into this, but it seems like maybe there was a miscommunication here between what it was going to look like on the inside and what the CGI team had put together for the outside. Maybe they weren't really, two planes flying across each other at night. No real good communication. I don't know. But that was just a feeling that I had. We do find the book in short order, and Book finds Hy'Rell in there, and Hy'Rell says, "It's not often I get visited by a book in my library. Is your name really Book?" And then Book lies and says yes. Book is not his name. It's short for Booker, which is short for Cleveland Booker, which is not his name. His name was like Tyrex or something like that. His Kwejian name. So he kind of lies and says his name is really Book. I don't know. He should have said something like, "Yeah, people call me Book," like that. But is your name really Book? And then yes, it's kind of not exactly accurate. of course, oh, I forgot. Book is on the adventure today, too. Guess what, guys? Guess what? This is late Discovery. Book is here. Book and Michael are on the case. Surprise! I didn't realize that when Book was first introduced like 2 seasons ago, he was going to become like the second main character, because he is around a lot. He is important. I remember last episode I remarked about how cool it was going to be if like Reno, Adira, and Tilly, maybe Paul, went on this adventure, and how sick that was going to be. No. It's Michael and Book. The progenitors who made this advanced technology, they're just testing Michael. They're testing Michael to see if Michael is a good representative of all sentient species, and if it's okay to allow this technology to go into anyone's hands in the universe as it stands right now in this time and date. And Burnham is at the forefront of that, by virtue of being the captain of the Discovery. And I don't know why else it would be that way. I don't know how this progenitor tech works, but what kind of test involves one person to see if it's okay for an entire organization to have access to this tech? I have no idea. Go back to Janelle, my review for that episode, and I brought that up there. We're just kind of testing Burnham here. Even though this is the Burnham show, she is the main character of Discovery, like it or not. That's the way the show is designed. And, I mean, we've been through a lot of tests. We've been through a lot of harrowing events with Burnham. How many more tests can we really go through? Somehow I don't think the progenitors are psychic, or maybe they're still around. There's a prospect I never really explored in my mind. Maybe they're still around. Maybe they're watching. I don't know. Are they out there? Who knows? Book is here. He goes, of course, they have the Kwai-Jan artifact, lost culture, such as the Kwai-Jan people. Their planet was destroyed. They have a little wooden container with 2 little seeds, clippings, from a tree. I'm not a botanist. I don't know how these things work, but maybe you can plant new trees from these things. Maybe this involves somehow saving the planet with the progenitor tech. There's a theory. And, I mean, you would imagine if this is the last known artifact in Kwai-Jan, and they're very, very exceedingly rare, and we have a real Kwai-Jan person here to, discuss it, and to maybe, enlighten us as to its significance, you would think maybe we would leave it at the library, where it's safe and everyone can view it. But, I mean, yes, on another note, it kind of does belong to Book. But I mean, he just kind of says thanks and assumes he's taking it, and they do give it to him. Hy'Rell is like, you should take it, and blah, blah, blah. Is that a good idea? I know it's yours. You're the last Kwai-Jan person here, but Book, please don't lose it. Please don't lose it, Book. Oh my God. We're just letting him take this priceless thing. Oh well. I mean, he does that. He is from that planet. He's the last one, I guess. So there's your wood thing, Book. Enjoy. Don't lose it, please. I hope he'll just walk right out of the building and drop it, and then it falls all the way down to the bottom of that shaft of books and smashes to a million pieces on the bottom. Oh well. That's not what happens. But we're going to hope that doesn't happen. Meanwhile, Burnham is in a viewing room of a book she cannot read. Remember in Whistlespeak when we had those eye-mounted tricorders that could show us information about things just by looking at it? Would have been cool to have it here. I would not have gone into this library unless I had that, or some kind of device like a tricorder, mounted in my comm badge as usual, holographic style, where it could read me these books. Being able to read the books might be important. Somehow, I don't think Michael knows 10,000 different languages, but now would be a cool time to have that tricorder in your eye. That would have been cool. But she opens the book, Labyrinths of the Mind, left over by Dr. Derricks, who did live out the rest of her life in this library. And there's another card in it. The book is not the clue. The clue is the thing that's sitting in the book. It's actually just a thing slipped into the book. There you go. I couldn't make it any more simple. Open the book. And she knows to just press on it. Then she goes into the labyrinth of her mind. Not unlike Picard in The Inner Light. He goes on an adventure that lasts a lifetime. Michael goes on an adventure that lasts, a few hours in her mind. You know how these things work. The differential in time between what you're imagining and what's going on in reality. They're not exactly going at the same rate, I don't think. But Michael goes on an adventure in her mind, supported by none other than Book. Book is dressed in Hy'Rell's outfit, the gray garbage bag. And Book is a figment of her mind. Book is important to her. That's why he's appearing here. I don't know why she can't figure that out and just patch things up with Book. He seems to be on good behavior lately with the Federation. We need to find the next clue in our mind somehow. Now you're in a library. Maybe your first assumption will be you need to find a book. Fine. That's what Michael's doing. Michael is going through history books. She's barking up the wrong tree. Labyrinth, that's right. This place is a maze. And we zoom out and realize that this library actually is a maze, literally, in her mind. And it's very cool looking. We zoom out and it's a believable shot of a bunch of different hallways of books with Book in her mind, who's not being very helpful. It's one of these things. Well, I can't tell you the answer. I can only lead you to it. I'm just in your mind. I can't do X, Y, and Z. You're going to have to do that yourself. Something that would really drive you insane if you were trying to save the universe. It does end up driving Michael insane when we realize that it's not a book she's trying to find. It's not a labyrinth she's trying to escape from. It's her own mind. There's a problem in her mind. And we realize when she breaks down and stops sounding like Michael Burnham and starts sounding like, Sonequa Martin Green, she starts to just kind of sound like speaking off the cuff and blah, blah, I failed. And I'm going to do it again if I don't complete this mission. And this is very important. I'm afraid of dying. And she admits that she's afraid of dying and admits that she's afraid of failing again. And admitting this humility to herself in her own mind was actually the test. Now, if you've seen Discovery, you know that Michael's been on a lot of different quests, physical and spiritual, and she does show a lot of humility here and there. She, cries in front of the crew. She did it at the end of Discovery Season 4. I like that scene. She's been very open with the crew, her command style. That's why it clashed with Rayner. How many more tests of humility do we need? Is this a test to admit that we're afraid of dying? Of course we're afraid of dying. But it's worse to fail the mission. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't really, it's not as obvious for me. A few of the other tests were like, do you have the ability to, accept and not fire at this wild animal in Janelle? Are you able to decipher old ancient things like the Romulan text on that statue that they need to go below to get that thing? Are you able to do these things? This one, it seems a little bit more esoteric to me, a little bit harder to pin down. Admitting to being afraid of death, knowing thyself, the person who has access to the progenitor tech must really, really know themselves. I don't know. It's just, we've been around Michael so long, it's hard to really have any huge revelation that we can kind of partake in with Michael. It's hard to imagine that. This character we know so well now. I don't know. And it had to be Michael because it wasn't going to be like Paul or Culber or someone else from the ship. It was going to be Michael because Michael's the captain, and the captain in this season in this series is the main character. So it was going to have to be Michael, but yet we're just treading water. Oh, we're learning about how Michael feels bad about X, Y, and Z. We already kind of knew this. Michael's whole life is an exercise in failure, getting back up, leveling with oneself, having humility, trying again. That's the grand arc of this show. Yes, this fits in with it, but we're just kind of retreading the same ground. I would rather it was something a little bit more direct and a little bit more fresh. Like, I don't know, maybe Michael has to learn to maybe look, the character in her mind is Book, right? Michael is afraid to fall in love somehow with Book right now because it's quote unquote complicated, right? With him having been a traitor to the Federation last season. Maybe in her mind she had to learn to forgive Book and be in love with Book. It's something. It's not, oh, I guess I'm afraid of dying. Something like that. Because the lights are going out and we're about to die. And when you die in your mind, you die in real life. And her body is laying there lifeless on the floor in this mindscape looking for this, not Book, not exit, but ability to reconcile with their own self. The lights are going dim. I'm afraid of dying. You just solved it. Book in her mind says, guess what? You just solved the quest here. A very, very smart person probably could have guessed this if they were in her shoes, because if all these books occur in the mind, her own mind, she's not going to learn something she didn't already know. So these books aren't going to reveal anything she doesn't already know. And it's a labyrinth in her mind. She knows how she got in there. There's no trick to getting out. It's accepting an aspect of the self. That, like Spock probably would have guessed this pretty quick. Just a hunch. And Book, the mind version of Book, who looks like Hy'Rell, the character who introduced us to the library originally. The thing you want is in such and such a room. I think he says room 7 or something like that. There's a crystal on this pedestal. Just smash the crystal and the clue's in there. Bob's your uncle, and there you go. And by the way, we are allowed to smash this crystal like it's nothing. Hey guys, listen. Librarian, I just went on a spirit quest, and they told me I have to smash this rare crystal that's on display in your library. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we know you're saving the universe and all that, so you might as well. Somehow, Hy'Rell didn't sound like she really knew what the Discovery was trying to do. Didn't, at least at the beginning, sound like she really understood the significance of this clue of progenitor technology, not to reveal too much, and maybe the Breen as well, because they serve all kinds, including the Breen. Although under the circumstances, the Breen come off very, very violent here. The Breen know where the Discovery is. They navigate through the Badlands. This is while Michael is in her mind looking for this next clue. They were threatening, but now they're stupid? The Breen, they must be just very dumb, because their idea to sneak into this library is just to be as violent as possible, when we all knew that this library was going to accept anybody who came, who came in a peaceful spirit. And they do have Breen artifacts. The Breen show up. They're trying to force the door open in a violent way. You're going to give us X, Y, and Z, or we're going to kill you. Smart, guys. Very smart. All you've done is raise their defenses. Although the Breen ship is able to tunnel through it anyway with shield tunneling technology that the Federation barely understands. It would have been cooler if the Breen followed all the rules and went in there silently in the library, and we had a duel of words in the library with the Breen and Book and co. in the library setting. Wouldn't that have been neat? Something different like that made them look a little bit more conniving and a little bit more, less prone to just using violence. Like a stupid villain. Come on, it would have been cool. But instead, we go in guns blazing. The Breen do tunnel through the library's shield. Book, Rayner, and Culber are on the scene trying to resuscitate Michael, but they're running out of time, and we do end up in a shootout between Rayner, Book, and the Breen. The amount of Breen that the ship could transport through before Discovery was able to use technobabble, from Reno, Adira, and Paul in engineering. Fluctuations, positron, something, electrons, beams, things like that. We're able to counter the effect of the tunneling that the Dreadnought is using to get into the shield of the library. I'm surprised it wasn't a deflector pulse, to be frank, but we do end up closing their ability to transport in Breen. So now it's Rayner and Book. Rayner, I suppose, having Breen experience, which is always a good thing, versus now a finite amount of Breen. Rayner, Book, Breen, who's going to win? We see a video feed of one of the Breen's helmets, and Maul and the rest of the Breen are on the Dreadnought looking at it. It looks exactly like a video game. It looks worryingly like a video game, that video. It looks like, watch it be practical and me be wrong and stupid. It looks like it was worked up in Unreal Engine in like 2 hours. Just a thought. But chalk one up for bad looking special effects. In an otherwise cool looking episode with this library and such. Rayner and Book, listen, we're not going to make it. This place is going down. We cannot. We're going to have to say something to the Breen soon, or we're going to lose. Rayner gives the call. He gives the hard call to say, basically, to Captain Reese. I stood up and clapped when Reese got to sit in the captain's chair. Thank you. Finally, something's happening interesting on the bridge with characters. In the last season, Saru's gone. Owoishikin's gone. Detmer's gone. Did you realize they were gone? They got a special mission to fly the ISS Enterprise back to headquarters like 4 episodes ago. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Owoishikin and Detmer. How does it take that long to fly the ISS Enterprise back to the Federation? Does it take 4 episodes to do that, guys? Where the hell are they? But Reese is still there, so we get to see Captain Reese. Rayner's like, listen, we're running out of time here. I'm calling it. This is the amount of time we got. If not, we're leaving. If we don't get out of here fast enough, we're all going to be dead, and the clue's not going to mean anything. So Culber is trying to resuscitate Michael. I hope she gets that clue. I don't know what she's doing in her mind, but we're running out of time here, guys. Click. We're running out of time here. Click. It's all very desperate, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, along for this ride, feeling the desperation. Maybe we're not going to make it. But like I said, she does solve the problem. It's about having humility. She realizes this, wakes up. We got to go smash that crystal. The Breen are being maintained as best we can, but we're running out of time. And it's a desperate gamble. It's a bold move. I don't know if it's going to pay off, but we smash that crystal, get the clue. We beam back to the bridge just in time to assemble it on the armchair of the Discovery's captain's chair. And it reveals, without any more stupid metaphor, without any more puzzling things out, it's straight up holographic coordinates. No more tricks. Thank you, writers. No more tricks. It's just a map. Thank you. The Progenitors tech, I suppose, is in this holographic design. You assemble these clues together, you touch it, boop, and it just shows it to you. Awesome. What are we going to do to get the Breen to leave? They're going to kill everybody in the library. Unless they get this clue. Like I said, it's a bold strategy. What are we going to do, Michael? We're going to give it to them. We're going to give them exactly what they want. Probably saving Mole in the process. Maul. But she's kind of like a mole. A mole is like a secret agent that you got on the inside. If she's going to support the Federation in the end, she's kind of like a mole. But Maul's over there. We're going to save Maul. Maul's going to, think, whew, thank you, Discovery, for giving us the clue. I thought they were going to kill me if you didn't bring us the clue. And they do bring us the clue. They transport the clue over right after they copy the map coordinates. And I hope we're faster than the Breen. I hope we're faster. We had to give them the coordinates. They got the coordinates. We made them swear to not attack the library any further if we gave them this clue. They seem to follow through with this, what is it, a Tergoon, they call it. It's, bringing up Breen, we're politicking in the Breen style. Hey, it's a Targoon. You can't go back on a Targoon. What kind of Breen is you if you go back on a Targoon? And they don't go back on it because Discovery manages to spore drive out while ejecting warp plasma, so it looks like they were destroyed. But I think, any sufficiently advanced sensor could detect that this was a ruse, but not Rune's ship. They couldn't figure out the Discovery wasn't destroyed. I mean, there's not a lot of debris. We couldn't find any bodies in the debris, so, hey, according to these results, they're dead. And we got the clue, and we're just going to go there now. We're going to follow through. We're going to see if we're faster than Discovery, and Discovery is going to see if they're faster than us, although we don't know that because we think they're dead. So it's a desperate gamble. Is the Discovery faster than the Breen? The spore drive has been damaged, and the warp drive has been damaged somehow. Are we going to make it? We're having a race. The next episode's a race. It's kind of like a chase, as it were. What are we going to do? A good setup for the next episode, if I must say. That was Labyrinths. We got over the labyrinth of the mind. Michael learned to, the humility of admitting that she's afraid of dying and afraid of failing again. Who isn't? But I think we all knew that about Michael already. Not a big revelation, I must say. Thematically, it's nothing we haven't been over before. A journey into the self. Not unlike Face the Strange. With Rayner in Face the Strange, he was being forced to accept by way of the plot that he had to accept, delineating command to other people and, being open with the crew. Now it's a little bit more muddied. It doesn't quite work as well when Michael is in her own Face the Strange moment and she has to learn to accept the possibility of losing. You can see me struggling here. I'm not quite sure what the whole thing means after multiple viewings. But to me, it didn't really land as well as what was attempted in Face the Strange. But you can tell by the end that Maul's adventure with the Breen is kind of reflecting Burnham's. Burnham is on an internal adventure, and Maul is on an external adventure, trying to take over the Breen, which she kind of somehow does. I don't know how, but Michael, it basically, it almost comes to blow with Rune, comes to blows. She takes his scepter and shoots him with it, and everybody's just like, oh no, what do we do now? We're in a political problem. I don't know what to do. Do we just clobber this poor little human? No, we don't. Maul knows about the Discovery. She knows about the clue. I can bring back the Scion. Long may he reign. And everybody just kind of goes along with it, and we are that close. For me, anyway, I was just that close. For me, for this show, Jumping the Shark. If you don't know what that means, it means when we go past the point of unbelievability. All shows, especially sci-fi, require a certain level of suspension of disbelief, and when we get to a certain wall that we can't get over with, it renders everything else beyond that point impossible to believe, right? So we see this one extremely unbelievable thing. Now I don't believe the next thing. That's Jumping the Shark. Did it do that for you? It almost did it for me. But we needed another episode. I needed another episode behind the scenes stuff here with Maul, and these people, the Breen. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that we can win over the Breen that fast. They're either extremely threatening, hard to understand aliens, or they're easy to empathize with aliens that are mostly kind of human-like in a dangerous political scenario that we can take advantage of if we're Maul. It's either one. I don't know. But Maul does manage to slam that scepter down, and listen, legally, according to you guys, I'm married to Locke. That makes me something. Are you going to follow through with trusting me here? I'm taking place of Rune somehow in one episode. You heard it here first. I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's Maul's adventure, and we were already on Michael's adventure. thematically, how do they link up? I'm not really sure. I don't really quite get it. I'm kind of losing the plot here, thematically speaking. But visually, it's a mixed bag. Inside the library, it looks awesome. Outside, kind of boring. The Dreadnought, again, it's still too obscured by things for me to really see what's going on with it. I can't really do a proper review of this ship. I don't understand what I'm looking at. The CGI and the Breen in their ship standing there looked a little bit fake to me. They looked a little bit wooden the way they moved. So we're not winning visually, unfortunately. Musically, there wasn't much going on. I didn't really recognize a lot other than, I believe when we approached the library, we did have a rendition of the Discovery theme, which was welcome. I believe we also had that when the Discovery was somehow countering the Breen ship, if memory serves. I've never been a fan of the Discovery theme song, so this isn't a big win for me in that regard. Plot-wise, it's getting hard to believe. I mean, we noticed this in our last review. The outcome is not what's the problem. It's getting there. It's getting from there to here. It's a little bit rough. The leaps are they're compounding in my mind. The logical leaps we need to make here. It was cool seeing Captain Reese. Not so much cool seeing, I don't know, what Queen Maul in one episode. I don't know. Another episode needed, unfortunately. I don't mind where we're at, but how we got there is a little bit rough. This is Labyrinths. The book is Labyrinths of the Mind. And this episode, because it's Discovery, heavily features book. And it's high time we had an adventure with Paul. What's going on with Culber? I want to know. Tilly? I mean, last season I thought Tilly was leaving for the Academy totally, and we weren't going to have Tilly this season. I really did think that. But we ended up not having Saru. Imagine that. We also don't have Awashkin or Detmer. How long does it take to fly a ship back to the Federation headquarters in the ISS Enterprise? How long does it take, guys? Well, it's going to take about a week for me to come back and review the next episode. And this episode is getting... What do you think it's going to get? A 5.5. That's what it's getting. A little bit better than average. Par for the course for this season. It's average to okay. Like I said before, I'm Lieutenant Merc, and I'm signing out. And I'm going to see you next time I see you. Bye-bye, everybody. I'm trying to be quiet in the library. Shh, be quiet. No one say anything. We're in a library. Everyone be quiet.